I would like to know, what was your biggest breakthrough in property investing, and how did you discover it?
Uh, my biggest breakthrough was what sort of questions to ask a potential JV partner.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Very, very key. People just don't know how to approach them, what to say, which comes back from your earlier question. Identify where they are, how they can fit into your organization, into your vision, into your dream, you know. Um, yeah, so what sort of questions to ask potential JV partners? How do you know you've met someone? You could be talking to them and they could be the perfect JV partner, but yet you don't know it, you know? How do you take that to the next level?
So how would you do that? What's like one or two questions that you
Well,
might ask someone?
well, I'll talk about their family, their background, why they're looking to get involved in property, what they've done in the past, what their interests are, you know, um, why property? Because you don't want to get involved in someone that's seen a shiny object over here, and
Yeah.
then is only going to be there with them for 2 or 3 months, and then they've seen another shiny object, then they're over there. You know.
No, that's really a really good point actually. Some people get into property investing for the wrong reasons, and if it's whilst you can make a lot of money in a short space of time, relatively speaking, with regards to how long we live as human beings,
Yeah.
um, it's certainly a long-term sort of strategy, really, property investing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I mean,
Uh,
you don't really even need to um, buy property to make money, really. You know, you don't have to, or you just control property, you know.
mm,
And one of my friends recently shared with me a strategy which they've implemented, and they've made almost £250,000
wow.
just by, and they didn't even have to buy the property. You know, they met a distressed landlord. I'll
Mhm.
share the complete strategy with you. It's
Yeah,
okay.
please
I
do.
mean, I'm quite fairly open. So, anyways, they bought the property for. Sorry, they didn't buy the property. What am I talking about? They negotiated a deal with the property vendor that they only wanted £250,000 for this property in London. That's all they wanted. Now, that property was worth somewhere in the region of £500,000.
Wow.
It's worth £500,000. There's no mortgage on the property. The vendor, all they wanted was £250,000, and that was it. But however, it was in clapped out condition. It was a total wreck, you know, and it was like 3 or 4 bedrooms, but it was clapped out condition. It needed everything doing, from rewiring to plastering, from painting and decorating, from putting a new bathroom, a new kitchen, you
Mm,
know. It needed virtually everything doing to it. It probably needed around an overhaul, maybe 40 to 50 grand spending on the property. But
wow.
once it's done,
Mm,
that property is worth £500,000,000. Now,
mm,
the vendor never had this kind of money,
mm.
and they didn't know where to get the money from. And all they wanted was £250,000 so that they can move on, really.
Right.
Yeah. So what this lady girl did was to negotiate the price at 250 with the vendor, and said, "Yeah, I'll put the money in for you." And the girl never even had the money herself.
Okay. So how does that work then?
So what she does is she came to people she knows. She came, for example, to me and said, "Well, Faz, have you got 40 or 50,000 pounds that you can give me to put on this house? What we could do is sell the house once we've done the works, put an option in for the vendor to say that he's happy to accept £250,000, sell the property for £500,000 with the local agent, you know, and then we can go 50-50 on the cut."
Mm.
on the split of the profits.
Yeah.
So obviously there's enough in there for both of us to deal with. I mean, I eventually put her in contact with somebody else that she could do this with. I didn't really move because I had so much going on. But there's only so much you can do. So I was quite happy.
That's the beauty of being in this networking environment, is the fact that she came to you, and although it's a great deal, you weren't able to get into it for whatever reason, but you know someone else that might be interested, so you can just pay it forward. And I think that's brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's there's £250,000 there, that you can split, really. And she didn't even have to buy it, and she didn't even have the money.
Right. So, I mean, how did she? So I'm guessing you mentioned options. There's a little bit of advanced strategies here for our listeners, but I would imagine it's something along the lines of you do some sort of legal paperwork with the vendor that says you've the right to buy the property at some date in the future, and you have an agreement in place that allows you to start fixing up the property and doing works on the property, and the JV partner that you passed her on to gives her the 50,000 to actually do the works, so that it's completed, and then you just get the local estate agent to find a buyer who then exercises the option to buy at whatever price.
Yeah, absolutely. The agreement is the most important thing there, because you don't want to be in a situation where you put in so much money into a property and then the vendor says, "Oh, actually, I've changed my mind." So the agreement, it has to be stamped by the solicitors, and it has to be an official document that you have to put in place. But any solicitor can do that.
And do you know how, or did she mention how she found the vendor at all? Because I imagine if you saw a deal like that with an estate agent, they could be a little bit funny with regards to this kind of creative strategy.
Well, it was funny enough because I met her in a networking event, and she came to me as an investor to invest in one of my companies, and we were talking about that, really, and but it just so happened that there were other things that she wanted to share with me and discuss with me and see what we could do, and because she was thinking outside the box, and I shared with her exactly what I would do with that property. She says she's in this kind of predicament, she's in this situation, she doesn't quite know what to do and how to deal with this. How would I build a relationship with the vendor? And I said to him, you need to speak to him every other day, go to see him, take him out for dinner, get to know him, understand more about him, build a relationship with him. That's going to be the key thing that's going to get you this, because it sounds like an incredible opportunity.
Yeah. And how did she find the vendor in the first place?
She said she's known the vendor for about 2 or 3 weeks. She's spoken to the vendor 2 or 3 times. She met them face to face once, and 2 or 3 times they spoke on the phone.
Sorry, what I mean is, was it through an estate agent, or was it through some sort of leaflet campaign or a networking event that she found this deal in the first place?
Oh no, it was through an estate agent.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So it can work. An estate agent can give you a lease option deal.
Well, no, it doesn't quite work like that, because estate agents don't really understand lease options and purchase options and anything about options, and anything. If they know. If you talk to them about options, they don't want to know you, because they don't understand it, really. Yeah. So, you're going to speak to the agent as if you are buying it.
Right.
That's it. And just your strategy completely separate. All the agent is interested in is the buyer, and how they've got someone in place that's buying it.
So how on earth did she get to speak and have dinner with the vendor if he was being... the gatekeeper was the estate agent? Usually they like to keep the buyer and the seller at arm's length.
Yeah, sure. So once she's carried out the viewing with the agent,
Mm.
the vendor's there,
Oh.
and they've spoken,
Mm.
and she's gone away, and then she's rang up the agent again and says that I want to do a viewing in on Saturday night, a
Mm.
second viewing at 8 o'clock at night.
Mm.
But because we all know that no agent works at that time of the evening,
Mm.
they can't make it.
Mm.
So then they say, well, I'm interested in buying it. I can exchange on Monday, but subject to second viewing.
Mm.
So the agent is not going to want to lose the buyer by not being able to turn up.
Mm.
So therefore, the agent has got an obligation to work with the buyer to organise a viewing around the schedule of the vendor.
I think that is a fantastic idea. Go and have a second viewing in the evening at a time when you know the agent's not going to be around, so you can then have whatever discussions you need to with the vendor. But ultimately, I'm assuming whatever deal you agree, you don't cut out the agent and piss them off.
No, absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
no, no. You still work with them. You want to continue to work with them because you want to work with them long term. So,
Mm.
as long as you've got the vendor that's happy with you, likes the way you want to work, what you want to do, as long as the vendor is concerned
Mm.
that you're buying the property.
Yeah.
You know, so when the property goes back on the open market,
Mm.
once the work is complete,
Mm.
then she attracts the buyers through her own inquiries online using a portal called Rightmove. She'll take the phone calls and then she'll book in the viewings and she will speak to the buyers before they go in, and then she will carry out every single viewing.
Mm.
And what she tells the vendor is basically, I'm bringing along another business partner to have a look at X.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as you know, and then the next viewing, I'm bringing along another business partner. You know.
And I guess you could do block viewings. There's no reason why you can't do block viewings or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And then eventually she's got a buyer. She doesn't have to take the 500,000.
Mm.
She could put it on the market for 490 and take 460, 470. And she'll still make an incredible amount of cash.
Yeah. No. So again, it's all about thinking outside the box there. Great. Okay. So